Let's see, who's next on the How to Rune list? Who is... Oh, God. Oh, God, this is... Now I remember why I haven't done a How to Rune video in a little while. What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about how to rune the Polar Queens. Some of these are a little bit flexible, I guess, is what you could say, depending on how you're going to use... Where you plan on using them. Actually, I think... Most of them are flexible. Alicia's not that flexible. Alicia's kind of cut and dry. Actually, Alicia and Elenoa, I think, are the least flexible of them. They're good. They're all, you know, they all have their uses. They all have their uses. But let's get into it. I know it's going to be a long video. I'm sorry in advance. It's going to be a long video. So you can timestamp. Well, this one's this and this one's that. Go. Feel free to do that. So the first one's Brandia. All right. Brandia, attack monster. She's got attack first skill. Weakens defense. Okay, that's nice. Creates a shield that's proportional to your level and protects all allies for 2 turns and weakens the attack power of enemies for 2 turns with an 80% chance. This is not an attacker skill, though. This is not an attacker skill. Look at this. She's got the same one. She's support monster. This is a support skill. Come to us. And then the leader skill, increase the HP of ally monsters in the arena by 44%. She's a support monster. What? She's a support monster. Support leader skill, support second skill. But she's considered an attack monster. It like doesn't make too much sense. And then this one, big damage skill, but puts the enemy to sleep for 2 turns after the attack. Like, okay, they're buffed, but like, she's a big damage monster. That's a support monster. Like, what? So where can we use her? Where can we? It's a good question. Leader skill arena, makes me think like, okay, they want us to use her in arena, which is one place to use her. I've seen some people use her in RTA as well. Not very common in high level, but could be interesting. She's got good speed. So I'm thinking here's one option. Here's one option for RTA. I know I'm saying RTA, not everyone was interested even in RTA. High speed, maybe Swift for RTA. You could rune her for Swift. That's more of an RTA kind of thing. Swift. This way she... Maybe anti-speed team. If you're not expecting Brandia to be on Swift, you come in with your like a Rhine and your Megan and whatever's and your Lucian. You're gonna come in and nuke, like the enemy's gonna come in and nuke. You bring in your Brandia. They're like, I don't care about a Brandia. I'm not gonna ban a Brandia, right? But she's on Swift. She goes first because she's got a much higher base speed than something like Megan. She goes first. She's gonna attack, break your opponents, and shield your entire team. Could be a clutch win, and she's got this HP leader skill. Could be a very anti-Lucian mechanic for RTA. And she's got the touch of mercy too. I think for that she would be for RTA. I would do her fast with like speed, defense, HP, speed, HP, defense. Maybe Swift. Even Nemesis wouldn't be bad for that. Or Violent also works, but then you have the I think Swift might be something that I would go, because you can't, like, either way. Even if the opponent has will, you still have the shield on, so it's really not wasted. And if they don't have will, then they still have that. Unless you're going up against the Tiana, of course, then GG, Tiana wins over this, right? Tiana wins, you're just gonna strip everything off anyway. And then you've got that as well. I think it could be a fun thing for RTA. Let's say you don't do RTA though. Not a lot of people do. Some people don't do RTA. I was thinking also of doing like Swift for regular arena defense, because people would not expect her. I think people just don't expect her on Swift. And this could be an anti-Lucian mechanic, having her a fire monster on Swift with really high speed. People would not expect that. Her to use the Aura of Dawn. And even if she uses the Touch of Mercy, like maybe she uses the Touch of Mercy and puts a Lucian to sleep, and then you win by the opponent having the Lucian put to sleep. Could happen, right? She could put a Lucian to sleep on, like, when, if she's on Swift and she uses her 3rd skill. She could do that too. So it's options. It's options, but there is that. There's also, I use her for myself. I have one. I skilled her up. I max skilled her. I think she's good. I use her as a damage dealer, attack for damage attack for raids. Not for raids, for Rift Beasts. She can be used for raids too. I think she loses a little value in R5. She might, maybe like a tanky vampire build might be better for R5, I'm thinking. This way she can do big damage, right? She can do big damage. She can defense break and attack break. At least she's got the 2. If you don't have a lot of different options, she could be potentially pretty decent. She can't put them to sleep, I still think that she needs a rework though, and then she doesn't have really a leader skill for R5. I think R4, as if you're gonna like try to speedrun R4, she could be better for that, for speedrunning R4. Just big damage. Also, for Rift Beasts, I think the most useful place for her right now in the game is Rift Beasts, because she's got this defense big first skill, and then she's got, for example, I use her in the wind one. She's got this, which is a shield, which is nice, because the heal is nerfed, so you don't get as much of a heal, but you still have that, and then you still have this big damage, increased for every harmful effect on the enemy, so when the enemy's in groggy state, and the enemy's got like all these harmful effects that your 6-man team is doing, I think she's the best place for Brandia right now is the Wind Rift Beast. That's where I use her. I think that's the only place that I use her right now, but it would be like an attack or damage attack build with speedy substats, because you also want her to get that defense break. Even speed with damage attack wouldn't be bad. This way she gets the defense break before your other teammates attack. But I think attack or damage attack is probably the best thing for her. You could do her like Violent Blade, Rage Blade, something like that for the Wind Rift. But yeah, she's actually, that's what I'm using her for right now. She makes a noticeable difference in there, but I just wish I wish she was either more support or more attacker, and they kind of decided what she was gonna be. So that's my thoughts on those. I think I mentioned the vampire for R5 could be like a crit damage and a little bit of like either defense on like slot 6 maybe for vampire for R5 might work. She's not the best option though, but if that's what you got, you could probably make her work for R5. Okay, so we talked about Brandia, we talked about where to use her, we talked about how to run cool. 6 minutes. Oh, faster than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, Alicia. I feel like Alicia is a little bit more cut and dry. She's got the defense break here. She's got Storm of Midnight. Attacks enemies with a powerful storm attack, increases portion to the enemy's attack speed. Frost Rush attacks all enemies with ice pillars, gains another turn instantly if the enemy dies. An amazing attack power. Like, she's got 3. This is what an attacker should be. She's got 3 attacks and an attack leader skill. See, she makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? She makes sense. So Alicia's actually used a lot in high level arena because of this. Because she also gets 2 turns. She gets this. She kills someone. Like, let's say you defense break with Galleon, and then you kill like an Orion. A lot of times people use Orion on defense. You kill Orion, you get another turn. That's double AoEs back to back. That's amazing. That's awesome. And then this is just going to do a lot of damage. So there's 2. I mean, that's where you use her, right? That's where you use Alicia. You can also use her in the Fire Rift Beast. She's amazing there as well. You can use her in different things. I wouldn't necessarily use her in something like... I mean, you could use her to nuke TOA if you're going like for speed TOA normal runs. You could use her to nuke that. But I wouldn't necessarily... You could put... She's got double AoEs. You could put her on Despair if you're early game and need something for TOA. If you're early game, you could put her on Despair. Would not be the bad if you have good Despair runes. I wouldn't recommend endgame. I would recommend switching it eventually to a more damage dealer. But she's a standard damage dealer. She really needs to go. The main thing with her is you need to decide if you're taking a turn 1 team or if you're taking a turn 2 team. Right, so if you're going to take a turn 2 team, you need to have monsters, you need to have a few sets of shield, you need to have will on your entire team, and then she's going to be, and you use her leader skill, possibly. A lot of times you use her leader because it's great leader skill. But shield will on the entire team, and then your enemy goes first, tries to kill you, but you got multiple sets of shield, you're going to survive until turn 2, and then you use your defense breaker, and then she does need like a Galleon. She doesn't work as well. Like a Camir can work with other things. A Camir can work, for example, because she's an AoE nuker as well. A Camir can work with things like Mantura. Sigmar's can work with things like, because he just a regular defense break because he does damage based on enemy's HP. She does damage based on her attack for this, right? So she needs a Galleon. She needs the attack buff and the defense break. So that's where she works best. But it's really dependent on if you're trying to outspeed them, you go Stripper, you go Galleon to defense break, and then you go damage for her. So you're probably going to run speed, crit damage, attack. whether it's swift, whether it's rage, whether it's fatal, whatever you have, like blade, etc. Whatever you have the best overall damage stats for, while having her be speedy enough that it works in conjunction with that, like the Galleon, Bernard, Alicia, and like a cleanse, like a stripper. Maybe if you have, I don't know, Aquila. Maybe if you have Soha would work well too. If you have like, or if you have a Nat 5 stripper, that works too. That's even better. But you have that. If you're gonna go the speed route and outspeed. If you have, or I mean, if you have Tiana, then they're just amazing. Even don't, you know, whatever. But there's that, and then the shield will. Just most importantly, make sure she goes. She does need a Galleon though, right? Or something, or some kind of attack buff, defense break. You can kind of like ghetto rig it, and you can be like, well, I'll use the wind BK if you don't have Galleon, right? You can be like, I'll use the wind BK, and I'll use defense break, like whatever defense, like AoE defense breaker you have. You know, shield will on everyone, and then you do the defense break, you do the wind BK, he will buff your attack and also do damage to the enemy as well to get them down a little bit in HP, and then she'll be able to nuke down. The enemy's already half dead, so she'll be able to kill with this and do another nuke on top of that. So beautiful. But you need to make sure she goes right after your defense breaker. Not a lot, you gotta make sure speed tuning is important with some of these nukers that you're going to do with your defense breakers. So speed tuning is very, very important. I have a lot of monsters on my account. I'll show you guys. Actually some of my, like this is an example of a turn 1 monster, right? When I say this would be similar runes to what you want to go for if you're using Alicia for turn 1. This way she's got speed, crit damage, attack, right? But if you're using it for turn 2, you might want to do something similar to this. Attack, crit damage, attack with less speed. Right? 72, it's 166. This same exact speed, right? And also on will. These monsters go with my turn 2 Galleon. I think my turn 2 Galleon I messed up. Yeah, he's a little bit too fast. He should be a little bit slower so they go right after each other. So this is kind of a problem that there's a little bit of a gap in between. But this is what, like, the Sigmaris, Zyros, and you could just put Alicia in for, oh my god, I'm making this more difficult than it needs to be. You can put Alicia in for one of those, right? Basically like that. Or you can do the turn 1 team, where, like, this is an example of a turn 1 Galleon, right? That's the speed for turn 1 Galleon, and then the speed for turn 1 Julie. So make sure that, however you want to rune them, make sure they sync up. Like, make sure your defense breaker syncs up with your Alicia. Either way, right? And she's turn 1, she doesn't need will. And this Galleon is turn 1, he does not have will. But this Galleon is turn 2, so he's shield will, double shield will, right? I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to explain. Alright. But it's 2 different strategies. Like, you can use the same 2 monsters, you know, Galleon, and I'm saying Galleon, but you can use other monsters if you don't have Galleon, that's fine. You just have to tweak it a little bit, like ghetto rig it, it's okay, it works. But there's just 2 different strategies for if you're going for a turn 1 comp, or if you're going for a turn 2 comp. Now you have Tiana, which is just the most beautiful, amazing monster in the game. Basically the same thing again, she's mostly for arena. Don't use her in R5. You'll get kicked out of the group, right? Super fast. Do not do that. She will be don't do this. She's for arena. She's for Guild Wars. She's great. I mean, great in arena, great in Guild Wars. You can do mostly. You want to do speed. You could really whatever gives her the best speed. I've seen people do speed, crit damage, attack, and this does a pretty decent amount of damage. But she only has 2 attacks, right? So she does have 2 attacks. It's not completely support. She's not like a heal on turn 2, because then it would be like, okay, then you don't really want to go crit damage, because it's like, okay, well, if she had this turn 2 skill, or you know, Brandia is the same thing. If she had that turn 2 skill, you'd be like, I don't really want to put crit damage on her because she only has one skill. Her first skill is the only one that even does any damage. It makes no sense. But this, she's got 2 skills that do damage. So you can put crit damage on her. I see some people that do crit damage on her. But mainly you do either Swift with really high speed and try to get to turn 1. And you can go Speed Leader, Tiana, whatever. You can go Speed Leader, Speed Leader, Tiana, Galleon, and then Nuker again for a turn 1 team. Or you can go like the more turn 2 route. You can put like a double shield on her. You can actually do Nemesis on her as well. I'm gonna get into that in a second. But you can go double shield Will on her. She's got good base HP, so double shield is not bad on her. But you can go double shield Will. This way, if your enemy moves first, if your enemy's got like a Juno or a Praha, they're gonna strip all your stuff. They're gonna try to do dots to you. Then you're like, and try to kill you. As long as you survive, you can strip all those dots off, and then continue on your way. But she really needs to be, go a little bit faster than your Galleon or other defense breaker. I know I keep saying Galleon, but whatever other defense breaker you have that you're using, you can use different things instead of just Galleon. You can use another defense breaker like Lure, and you can use like Wind BK. Well, I mean, not even Lure, you have many other options. But you could use Wind BK as your attack buffer too, that also does a little bit of base damage. There's a lot of different things. But she works with, it's Tiana, Galleon, and then 2 damage dealers, and then you're set. That's like easy mode arena. But she's really for arena. And you can use double shield Will for her as well. You can also use Nemesis for like arena defense. If you're trying to do a Lucian trap, if you're trying to bait out Lucians, if you're like, oh, look at these wind monsters, don't you want to hit me? You can use like either Nemesis or more than one set of Nemesis to try and bait the double Lucian thing. The first, you know, the Bernard moves, and then your Megan or whatever else attack power buffer moves. And then the first Lucian goes, doesn't kill Tiana because she's got a lot of HP, right? She procs her Nemesis. She strips all the, you wouldn't have any debuffs on your team anyway, but she strips all the attack power buffs on the enemy's team, on the second Lucian, and then she gives the whole, you know, your whole rest of your team a turn, right? So she cuts in between. So that is another option that I think is underused, the Nemesis Tiana. Try it out. But she does also this defense leader skill, 44%. That's huge for building a turn 2 cleave team. Like if you have her on shield Will, double shield Will, that's a very viable option because she gives your team so much more defense, which is so much more survivability for building a turn 2 team. So if you can't build a super fast Tiana and you're like, man, I keep getting outspeeded anyway, even if I put her on Swift because her base speed is low, don't discredit the turn 2 team or the Nemesis team. They're very viable options. And Nemesis is underused, and I've seen some people, like some very solid players, use that to get, like, especially for rush hour. They're like, oh, you guys weren't expecting this, lols, and then they're like, G2. Okay, so not bad, because they'll like bait things out, and they're like do something that you. A lot of times, people will do something that you don't expect, and you're like, oh, great, I wasn't expecting that. GG, I lost. Next time you're like, I know, no, going into that, if you hit it again, you're gonna not get baited again. But the first time, you get the loss. Anyway, so definitely like a turn 2 cleave with her leader skill. Turn 2 cleave team would be great. So like Tiana, a little bit faster than the Galleon or defense breaker. Then the Galleon or defense breaker moves, and then your 2 damage dealers. And you can do crit damage on slot 4 as well. Just because she can do a decent amount of damage with this too. Even as a support monster, she can do a decent amount of damage. Alright, then we have Elenoa. What does Elenoa have? She's got this resistance, 55% resistance leader skill for arena. She's got 111 base speed, not bad. Essence Explosion, Aura of Dawn, and then Brutal Order. Sacrifice 10% of an ally target's HP to grant turn instantly to the target. Decreases the skill cooldown of all allies by 2 turns. So, This is an interesting thing to use. You can kind of think of her, like we already said, I think she's definitely a support monster. She's not like a damage dealer like Brandia. So remember how I said Brandia has two different ways you could ruin her. You could ruin her like Swift, you could ruin her, you know, with high speed like that, make use of her second skill. This Elenoa is going to be better for example, for arena defense, like an anti-Lucian mechanic. She can do that. She can be that Nemesis anti-Lucian, or she can be like Swift Nemesis or something like that, to or multiple Nemesis sets to do this and potentially cut in between. I know I say like Nemesis a lot, but it's just I'm trying to think outside the box for some of these things. If you want it, give you guys options for things that you might want to try. So she's got that potential, where Brandia, maybe Lucian probably doesn't crit on Brandia too much. She might not proc as much Nemesis. Elenoa, she would proc a little bit more on that. But I think you mainly use her, you think of her as Mav, right? She's got a support skill. She's a support monster. She's got, you're like, Mav, what? Creates a shield as proportionate to your level, right? Support skill. Sacrifices 10% and decreases skill cooldowns. That's why I'm saying decreases skill cooldowns. So you could run her speed, let's see. Proportion to your level. So it's not proportion to your HP, it's proportion to your level. I was looking at the unicorns today, that's why I'm thinking proportion to HP. You go speed, defense, HP, speed, HP, defense as a support monster for World Arena. I know, I'm trying to think, like, we got a lot of people interested in World Arena. I think with this Arena Leader skill, because you're not going to use her for Arena offense, right? You're going to use her for either Arena defense, or you're going to use her for, TOA would be good too. Decrease skill cooldown, that's what I'm saying, Mav. Like Violent, and then whatever gives her good stats overall. Wouldn't be bad for TOA for her third skill, right? Because it decreases skill cooldowns. But I think mostly she could be very useful in RTA, in World RTA Nat 5 Arena. Speed, defense, HP, speed, HP, defense. You can also consider doing this as well. Because, I mean, this resistance is potentially awesome, right? Resistance leader. We know Hathor, we know some people even like to use Tessarion for the leader skill too. But we've got this Brutal Order. You could consider putting her on Swift, which gives you the option to give a turn to whoever you want. You move first, you give a turn to whoever you think needs a turn the most. So you have that flexibility there, right? Sacrifices 10% of an ally target's HP to grant a turn instantly to the target. Grants turn instantly. So you use her on Swift. Let's say you have let's say you have a stripper like Chiwu with you. Let's say you have a monster that's got CC like Varad with you. You're like, okay, I have her on Swift. We have the Chiwu lead. She goes first. You see if your opponent has will runes or not. You see if maybe Chiwu needs to move first and strip the will shield, or if your opponent maybe doesn't, and then you make Varad move first, and then he's gonna CC. But you have that option to do this when you have her on Swift as your fastest monster. She does have 111 speed, same as Bernard, right? So she's comparable with that. And with the same runes, she will still outspeed an Orion, she will still outspeed a Tiana, she will still outspeed everything else, because she just has better base speed. 96 versus 111, right? And then Orion has 106 base speed. So you do have that option. I think speed is, I think Swift is very viable for her. I think Violent Will is very viable for her as well. I would go like speed, defense, HP, speed, HP, defense. And give her tanky stats, give her a lot of speed, give her a lot of HP and defense overall. And then resistance. She's pure support. I really wouldn't go crazy on trying to do, this is the only one that's going to do damage. So I wouldn't go crazy trying to do, put damage stats like attack, crit damage, crit rate on her. She doesn't need it, right? So I think, think about her like just purely support monster. Speed, defense, HP. I think Swift or Violent Will, right? Swift and then Broken Set and then whatever stats to get her the fastest possible so that she's got that flexibility. I think that's underrated. I think that's an underrated use for Elenoa. I have seen used very successfully in high level World Arena, so try that. I don't know if they're on Swift though. I don't know what the builds for them are. but I know, they're probably like Violent Will, speed defense HP, speed HP, something like that. Is probably what they are. But beautiful. Beautiful! Decreases skill cooldown is by 2 turns. 2 turns. It's not, I mean, and you give whatever ally needs a turn next. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility there. And this decreases the skill cooldown of all allies. Awesome monster. Great support monster. But think of her like Matt, think of her like Jameer, think of her like between that and between Olivia, right? Because we have Olivia there that does, people are using her Swift for the same reason. Where's Olivia? For this one. Fills up the allies' attack gauge, and she's got lower base speed. So she's just a better version of Olivia, even though she doesn't defense buff. And then what's the last one? Lydia. Oh my god, Lydia is brutal. She's got this increase the accuracy of ally monsters in the arena. I don't know if this is the best leader skill for her specifically. I think that she would do, I mean, like the other ones have, you know, HP, attack, defense, resistance. So of course she's got the accuracy. I think she'd be cool with like either an HP or a defense. Or even attack too, but I think she'd be cool with like an HP or D. She would be good with either of those, right? She'd be good with either of those. HP, defense, or attack. So she's got, and she's an attacker. She's got 2 skills and a passive. She's got this defense break, and she's got the Storm of Midnight. Attacks with a powerful storm damage increase proportion to the enemy's attack speed. This is a fun anti-Lucian monster. This is a fun revenge monster. Think of her, think of Lydia, right? Like you're out at, think of Lydia as your girlfriend. Ooh. Think of Lydia as your girlfriend. You're out at the club, right? You're hitting on these other girls. She's just smiles. She's like, oh, I see. Yeah, I see you hitting on her. I see. Yeah, no, have fun. Have fun. And then you go home and she stabs you in the face with a giant knife. That's Lydia, right? She's just like smiles and she's just such a polite little lady. And then when it's her turn, she's gonna stab you in the face with the damn knife. That's Lydia. That's Lydia. Okay, so that's what her passive, Deep Grudge passive, reflects 30% of the damage back to the enemy whenever you're attacked. Inflicts additional damage proportion to the damage that another ally received from the enemy when you attack during your turn. What? Inflicted damage will reset after the attack. Okay, here's what happens. Here's what happens with Lydia. You attack into Lydia. Let's say, I mean, these are really arena monsters, in my opinion, right? I have not tried her in Dragon's B10 or things like that. I have not seen if she's viable enough to be used in something like that. I know now I'm gonna get like 15 emails. Chewbacca, try my Lydia. Try my Lydia in Dragon B10. Oh, try my Lydia in Dragon B10. But she's the coolest thing. I mean, like, I've done this before and I got wrecked. And I'm like, that's so cool that I got wrecked by that, because it's just like a mechanic that you don't always see. Lydia on Nemesis that can survive 1 Lucian blast, right? Anti-Lucian mechanic. You Lucian the first time. Lydia's on Nemesis. She's just tanky enough to survive. She does need that tankiness to survive. And she needs to get hit to get stronger. To get that like angry bitch passive. So she gets attacked into. She Nemesis procced. She moves next before the second Lucian. She moves. She uses her third skill. Her second skill. I mean, it's a passive. Her second skill buffed up like crazy from the whole team getting all that damage done to them. She goes in and she wrecks face. Man, there's so many different builds for Lydia. You want her to do damage, right? She's like an attack, crit damage attack monster, but she needs so many stats. Like, she needs to be able to survive long enough to not get killed, so maybe attack or damage HP, but she also needs to be able to cut in if you're gonna do that with her, so she does need good speed too. She needs good speed and subs. But if she's not like super tanky, if she's just got enough HP to survive the first Lucian blast, and she's got enough speed, I mean, she's great for that whole comeback mechanic. And I think she could be real fun on Vampire. Or just a damage dealing build overall. You could do Swift, attack or damage attack, like Swift Nemesis is pretty good for her. I would say try that out, attack or damage attack, but speed subs, kind of ruin her like you would ruin a speed Lucian. Make sure she's got good speed, crit damage, crit rate attack, but also you want to make sure she's got decent enough HP so she doesn't die, right? But and also the Nemesis is important, but I'm just saying, like, with the stats wise. Oh my god, what a sexy girl. What a sexy evil bitch. I don't know, I'm attracted to the evil bitches, I guess. I don't know. But that is you gotta kind of tweak her to see where she, like, what she works best. But I've seen like Rage, I've seen Fatal, I've seen Swift. I haven't seen Vampire, but I think Vampire could definitely be a viable build. Maybe I just didn't see the Vampire. Maybe the Vampire is already used by some people. But I think Vampire could definitely be a viable build. Just because she comes back, she wrecks face, and then heals herself back to full. It's like, oh, what am I gonna do now? She just killed my entire team. But she does a crap ton of damage that if you're not prepared for it, you will be surprised. And if they're ruined her well, you will get wrecked. I've gotten wrecked. I've hit Lydia before, and I've gotten wrecked. But you gotta make sure she's got enough HP to survive that first blast. And I think she's very like, she needs really good runes to be able to handle that. Because she needs good speed, she needs enough HP to survive, and she needs enough attack or damage attack to be able to nuke the crap out of everyone. Because she does get, this skill just gets buffed to high hell from this passive. From this passive, this gets buffed to high hell, and she's only gonna, like, nuke that crazy, like her, it gets reset after the first crazy blast that she does. But she'll be able to still do that crazy blast. So either you can, like, Vampire, but she needs good stats. She needs good, she's very stat reliant overall, that she needs those. But she's definitely a fun anti-Lucian arena defense mechanic. If you're not prepared, high levels will probably be prepared for her, if they've fought her before. But low levels, I think you can trick a lot of people, get a lot of wins by trying to bait out that Lucian and still have her, you know, have her on Nemesis, have her proc in and just wreck face. So, very fun monster. As far as other places to use Lydia, I don't have a lot of experience using her. Like, for example, Elenoa could be used in a lot of places. I mean, this, just having a support skill, she can be used in a lot of different teams. You could use her in raids, I'm sure. You could use her, I mean, just for this is great. You can use her in TOA, you can use her everywhere. I haven't tried out Lydia too much in too many different places. She is more of, like, Elenoa is flexible, Lydia's like, okay, I'm like a revenge mechanic kind of thing. So she's a very revengey. She's like a niche monster, more revengey. I haven't tried her in other things though, I really haven't. But I'm thinking, like, I don't know how she would necessarily work. Like, we can't really use her in Necropolis or anything like that. So, and then, like, you're not gonna bring her into TOA hard, right? So she's more niche, but for what she does, she's really cool at coming back and just blowing everyone out of the water. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. Anyway, guys, congratulations if you pulled one of these girls. These little ice cream queens. I would take all the other. I want a Brandia buff Brandia. Why do I have two of her and I have none of the other ones? Why? I don't mind the first one. Right? I just didn't want two. Like, the first one is cool. I use her for Rift Beast. I do actually use her. But I wish she made more sense, and I wish I didn't get two. I wish I got, like, I would have taken literally any other one for a second. I'm okay with the first one. Okay with the first Brandia, right? But I just went for the second one. I didn't want a second Brandia. I would have taken a second Tiana. I would have taken that. But anyway, guys, because you could ruin any of these two multiple different ways. But anyway, I'll see you guys in 2 months when I do my next How to Ruin video. Just kidding. I'll try to make them faster after this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you as always in the next one.